Okay, so now we've got the slider in the center, we've got the servo in the center. It's time to check our blade. So what we're going to do is turn the helicopter straight onto you, perfectly like that. Turn your rotors so they're running straight forward, like so. Oh, there it is. Now you're going to need one of these things. This is a pitch gauge. This is like a $5 tool. You can get it at any hobby store or off the internet. No big deal. Easy to find. So what you're going to do is open this little bugger up, like so. Well, try to get it over the end of your blade. It's kind of difficult with one hand. And set it on there. Now what we're going to do, you see this little adjuster here? We're going to set that exactly for 0 degrees. Okay, now this is how a pitch gauge works. You take your pitch. Okay, so now you got your pitch slider on, or sorry, your pitch gauge on. What you're going to do is, it's going to be kind of difficult for me here, but I'm going to look across the top of the pitch gauge. Now remember, it's set exactly at 0. And I'm going to look across and I'm going to see, line up my fly bar with the top of the pitch gauge. And you can see that I'm actually out of whack here. You can take a look there. It should be sitting perfectly flat with the pitch gauge. As you can see, I'm actually a few degrees out. So if I wanted to know how far, not that it's critical, I'm just going to show you so you can see how this works. I'm going to take the pitch gauge and I'm going to slowly slide it up until it's pretty much exactly level at the top of the pitch gauge. You see that? That tells me exactly how much pitch is in my rotor right at this time. When you look at that, you can see we're minus 2 degrees. So I'm not exactly at 0 where I need to be. With my transmitter set at 0, the mechanics set at 0, the rotor should be at 0. So here we're just going to quickly reset this back to 0. Okay, we're at 0. So now, why isn't everything lined up? Well, because I crash a lot, and I tend to bend my linkage. So, I can see that my blade is 2 degrees too low. I'm going to have to pick it up. How do I do that? Easy as pie. I get in here, I go to the linkage, it goes to the mechanical link that connects it to the rotor. I'm just going to disconnect the top of the linkage. Like I say, sorry, it's very difficult for me to do these things with one hand. Okay, so I've got it off. So we noticed we were about 2 degrees low, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to unwind this little link here to extend the length of it. Now you got to be careful here. I don't know if we can capture this on the camera, but we'll try. You see, I've got way too much thread on one side and no thread on the other. You got to be careful that you don't unthread one end too far and not the other end, because obviously it will come disconnected in flight. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you can see where that's happened to me. So I've adjusted it 1 full turn. Oh, another item here. If you look at these little ball links very carefully, notice that one end is kind of a tight little hole. There. And the other end is quite a bit larger and has a little circle around it. When you press your linkage on, it's very important that that wide end is inserted over the linkage. As so. If you try to force it on the other way, you stand a chance of snapping the link along here. Also, it'll bind. Sometimes it will loose. You just won't get consistent flight at all. So try to make sure that you get it on the right way. So I'm not doing this exactly right because you can see it's difficult to operate a camera and the thing at the same time. So what I do is I kind of hold it on there with my thumb. I haven't snapped it on. I'm just holding it on. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to look at my fly bar again. I'm going to see I'm still about 1 turn of the linkage too low. So I'm going to go back over here again, and we're going to extend this out 1 more turn. As I said, I've way exceeded one side, so what I need to do is put the camera down for a second. Alright, I hope you can see that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wind this back in again, just so it's straight. And I'm going to wind the other side out using the little steel rod as a turn. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep the linkage threads the same on both ends so that I know I have a good purchase on both sides and I'm not going to wind this sucker out accidentally. Okay, so let's try that again. Remember, so we'll just push it on, hold it with our thumb, it's solid, straight on, but don't clip it on quite yet. Check your fly bar adjustment. So you now see we're almost perfectly level. So now we're pretty happy. We're going to snap it on. So don't try forcing these with your thumb, because all you're going to do is bend the little aluminum pieces. I'm afraid they're terribly soft. This particular head is cheap. A lot of you guys are going to have it. It is not the strongest thing in the world. But it does straighten out real well when you hit it with some pliers. Okay, so I snapped that on, confirm that it's on the correct way, double check, and 0 is now 0. So I'm now 0 pitch, 0 on my radio, and this is in 3D flight mode, or in flight mode 1. Now obviously we're going to do that to the other side too, but we'll let you figure it out. You just watch it twice if you need to.